Welcome to Rise Within channel. I'm glad you're here. What you're about to hear is not just content, it's a conversation and life lesson. One that I hope meets you exactly where you are and leaves you somewhere better. Let's begin. Episode 4: Stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Have you ever caught yourself making yourself smaller? Not physically, but in the way you speak. In the way you hold back an opinion to keep the peace. In the way you downplay your achievements so someone else doesn't feel uncomfortable. In the way you laugh off your own dreams before anyone else gets the chance to. Somewhere along the way, most of us learned that being too much was dangerous. That wanting too much was arrogant. That having big dreams was naive. And so we learned to shrink. To compress ourselves into shapes that fit the spaces we were in, families, friendships, workplaces, relationships, without disturbing anything or anyone. But here is the painful truth that nobody talks about. The spaces you shrank to fit, many of them no longer fit you. And the shrinking that once felt like survival is now costing you your life. Part 1: Where shrinking comes from. We are not born small. Watch any child and you will see someone who takes up exactly as much space as they need. Who asks for what they want without apology. Who cries without explanation and laughs without restraint. Who declares enormous dreams, I want to be an astronaut, a superhero, the president, without any awareness that these ambitions might be laughable. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, most of us receive a series of messages, spoken and unspoken, that teach us to reduce ourselves. Be quiet. Don't show off. Who do you think you are? You're too sensitive. Too much. Too loud. Too ambitious? And because we are wired to belong, because connection is a survival need as real as food and water, we adjust. We become smaller to stay loved. We compress ourselves to stay safe. The tragedy is that this adaptation, which once served you, calcifies. What began as a survival response becomes a permanent way of being. And long after the environments that required your smallness are gone, you are still shrinking. Still apologizing. Still making yourself less than you are. Part 2: The cost of smallness. There is a specific kind of resentment that builds in people who have spent years shrinking. It is quiet at first. A vague sense of frustration, of something unsaid, of energy without an outlet. But over time it deepens. It becomes anger, at the people you shrank for, at the world that seemed to demand it, and most painfully, at yourself for complying. Because on some level, you always knew. You knew when you bit your tongue that you were betraying yourself. You knew when you played down your dream that you were lying. You knew when you changed who you were to fit the room that the person who walked in was not fully you. That knowing accumulates. And if it is never addressed, never turned into action, it becomes the defining wound of a life, the grief of a person who was never quite allowed to exist on their own terms. The world loses something real when people shrink. Your specific voice, your perspective, your courage, your particular way of seeing things, is not replaceable. No one else has it. And when you suppress it, it is gone. Not just from your life, but from the world. Part 3: The permission nobody gave you. Here is what I want you to hear today, clearly and without qualification. You do not need anyone's permission to take up space. Not your family's permission. Not your partner's permission. Not your old friend's permission. Not the permission of the culture that taught you to be quiet. You are allowed to have a strong opinion. You are allowed to want more than you currently have. You are allowed to outgrow a job, a relationship, a city, a version of yourself. You are allowed to change so profoundly that the people who knew the old you do not fully recognize the new one. Growth is not betrayal. Becoming is not abandonment. And the discomfort of people who preferred you smaller is not your responsibility to manage. Harriet Tubman, born into slavery, risked death repeatedly to lead others to freedom, once said something that has stayed with me. When asked how she freed so many enslaved people, she reportedly answered, I could have freed 1,000 more, if only they had known they were slaves. The first prison is always the one inside. And the door to that prison is opened not by force, but by permission, The permission you give yourself to be exactly and completely who you are. Part 4. Expanding into your actual size. Expanding does not mean becoming arrogant or careless with other people's feelings. It means being honest. It means saying what you think with kindness and without apology. It means pursuing what you want with consistency and without shame. Start small. Say the thing you have been biting back. Pursue the interest you have been dismissing as impractical. Wear the thing. Apply for the thing. Write the thing. Tell the person. Notice where your instinct is to pull back, and ask yourself, honestly, am I pulling back because this is not aligned with who I am? Or am I pulling back because someone taught me long ago that it was not safe to be this much? If the answer is the second one, that is the moment. That is where your growth is waiting. We are going to the closing. The spaces that once required your smallness, you have outgrown them. The job, the relationship, the self-image, the story about who you are and what you deserve, some of these things no longer fit. And the fact that they feel uncomfortable is not a problem to be solved by shrinking further. It is an invitation to expand. Stop making yourself smaller for spaces that were never built for the person you are becoming. The world does not need a smaller version of you. It needs the full one. Before you go, carry this with you today: your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Until next time, keep ascending.
Please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment. We can grow together.